What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekend astrology forecast for the weekend of January 14th and the 15th of 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Truly appreciate you all. Hope you all had a great week. It was a lot this week. A lot happened, but hope it was good for you, and definitely wishing you all a great weekend. Let's take a look at this weekend while we're here. This is Saturday's chart, of course. We're going to see that moon in Libra. Definitely starting to stress a little bit with the squares over to the sun. It's going to finish off the day with a square to Pluto, so there's a lot of that Capricorn Libra energy. Definitely, I think we're at a place where we feel like we have to take authority in our life to balance things out, to come back to a harmonious place, and it's just kind of hard to find that because this moon's disposited by Venus, which is also square Uranus. So it's definitely shaking things up. This weekend can bring some twists, some turns, especially dealing with everything that, we find comfort and, pleasure in, to relationships, to just trying to chill out. This is kind of a lot of like electricity that is kind of coursing through the cosmos onto the earth, if you will. So definitely shifting things up, shaking things up, and trying to help us, get more value out of life, trying to help us liberate ourselves in some way. But this moon's kind of in a place where it's like, oh, I don't know. In Libra, it's trying to weigh a lot of things out, and it's almost being forced by the sun and Pluto in Capricorn to do the necessary thing. It's almost like you can't have beauty, balance, and harmony without that square to Capricorn, because you have to initiate that and you have to do something, and make decisions to get there. Definitely a lot with people. Some interesting conversations can come up, especially with Mercury retrograde now at 9 degrees, but really in a tight quincunx where it's going to sit, and just Mars and Mercury are going to look at each other. They're just going to look at each other in a very weird way. It's like a very weird side eye that they're giving each other. Because Mercury would rather be in Gemini and, of course, not retrograde, and Mars would rather be in Capricorn where it's exalted. So it's almost like, gosh, we want to take, this quick action to find the solution to really complicated equations in our lives, or having to just kind of slow our mind down enough to realize that we can act more impulsively when we just have the gut feeling, and when we feel like we're doing something purposeful, when we're going deeper into an area of life that we're passionate about. And I think that that's important. The moon's also going to make a trine over to Saturn in Aquarius as well today. So it is sort of that Saturn energy that's kind of holding things together, believe it or not. It is like you do have to take authority for balance in your life and for justice. And how do you justify that? Well, you got to make a decision. You got to come to a conclusion when you do find that, equilibrium, that equal place. But, also seeing, things above the clouds. I think people can be a little shaken in some way in their personal lives, or the world outside can be kind of shaking people up with the Venus, because it disposits the North Node. So this Venus is a big deal, and it's square Uranus, just came off a square to the nodes. That we're just starting to see, a lot of things that we relate to in life get really shaken up to find the liberation and to find sort of the unique approach. But we have to remember everybody's going through a unique experience, and we could be having similar experiences or very different ones. But I think it is that higher place of seeing above the fog, seeing above the clouds in our own life, to realize that other people are going through it. How do we create win-wins? How do we see both sides? And that's where Mars and Mercury can be, a weird one on Saturday, and just moving forward for the next week plus of this quincunx, is it can be hard to understand another person's truth right now because it might not fit into your plans, or vice versa. But we just want to be accepting, because you're not going to find balance by forcing things. And I would say that the moon square Pluto does want to manipulate the situation a little bit this weekend. So we're trying to avoid manipulation, but definitely finding that deep desire that drives us emotionally to create the equilibrium that we're looking for, and from a very like justified place and a mature place as well. And it's weird too getting the moon quincunx Neptune, because I don't know, it's just Libra and Pisces is just a weird energy where there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's very indecisive, you take the lead. So we're definitely feeling like we almost want someone else to take the lead in some ways, but we have to remember to, see the vision ourselves and to do something about it. That's the way to find the balance. But the only way to do that too is to have, to be able to have conversation, let people speak. You should be able to have your voice heard as well. And I would say definitely, with the Capricorn energy, it's like in Pluto and the Sun in Pluto this weekend, like just definitely be aware of manipulating energy. There can be a lot of that with the South Node dispositing Mars, quincunx Mercury, and also Pluto, the other dispositor of the South Node, square the Moon on Saturday. Like, we're trying to find fairness here and not just like one-sided, stuff. And as we come to Sunday, we're in a 3-degree orb with the Sun and Pluto, and now we're seeing Mercury at that 8th degree, so that quincunx is very tight. And we're starting to see the moon also come into Scorpio, so it becomes very Plutonic or Plutonian in a way on Sunday, where we're definitely, we can get very emotionally attached to situations. And I would say that's the crazy part, is that this Venus-Uranus square also is saying, like, can we move past some attachment here and, like, be non-attached? Not so much detached in, like, a critical, harsh way, but, like, can we not be so attached to certain things, especially if it's bringing up some kind of toxicity, or, it just doesn't feel right with your soul. I think you do want to trust that, but it's, Moon South Node Sunday as well too. So I feel like there is some kind of a emotional washing away of some, heavier traumas or baggage that we have to do. And it's like we have to be non-attached to those things too. And even as the moon comes off that square to Pluto, it's just like, let go of some things. I know it can feel hard. We can feel like we have to justify like letting go of harshness or trauma or guilt or, something that we carry deep within us. But it is definitely like, let go of those things. Don't be attached. Time to move forward. Time to see the positives. Go deep into the life that you're really passionate about. Like, that's good. Like, go into that place. That place is trying to liberate when you have a really deep soul passion that is actually of, conscious value, and it's, also be something you're working towards, putting effort into. That could be very beneficial this weekend too. The astrology isn't like super chill this weekend. I feel like we can find the peace and the chill, but it's going to be definitely, it's going to have a lot to do with the people we're around. People can be really wild, so you might, that energy is contagious. It's kind of, it's a little all over the place. You could definitely see, a lot of things outside of self try to get you back into something that you're trying to let go of, that you don't want to be attached to, that you're trying to see above and move above. So interesting. The moon will also sextile over to Mercury retrograde and also quincunx Mars. So just, an interesting spot for the moon. I think the more we can stay, on a very like persistent path, know that it's good to speak up for your deeper truths, your deeper feelings. Make sure that, your feelings carry weight by Sunday. So it's like the things you've been feeling, you definitely don't want to like just hide them. Like it's like hiding things isn't going to be the ticket, because with Sun Pluto getting close together, Moon in Scorpio, like there's really no hiding. Like the BS is definitely going to be exposed, So not a good weekend to be lying or playing tricks, I would say, as well. And that's one of the things this Mercury Mars can want to do, is be a little shisty trickster in a moon in Scorpio. So just, Venus square Uranus. It's just one of those weekends where I say it because we're in these times a lot these days, but like it's just hard to predict things, and people can take weird turns. The society can take weird turns. We have a comet that's visible. Comets bring weird turns. If you want to see that comet too, it'll be, up towards the Big Dipper, very north, high in the sky. So it is visible now from Earth. It'll be the brightest, I believe, February 1st and 2nd, but it's now visible. It's closest to the sun as of yesterday. Yeah, so that's my weekend. It's so funny. I got so Mercury retrograded. I usually put these videos up and just have them scheduled at midnight on the West Coast. And man, apparently my screen share didn't screen share to my laptop, which goes to my OBS so that I can share my chart, you know? And I had a client's chart on that computer, and I had no idea. I don't really look at this monitor much. But then it was also weird because my volume was like peaking out the entire time, which I never changed anything. Like I do these videos every day. Like my mic's always sounding very, very good. It was peaked out, sounded terrible. My lights aren't working right, like from their control. It just like, okay. Okay. So, little bit later. Not too much later, though, so. Yeah. Anyways, let's see what's in the cards. 7 of Cups. Reminds me of that Libra Pisces that I was talking about in the horoscope. Like, just, I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I think we do. Like, that's sort of the pressure moment here is we do know what's going to be satisfying and what's going to be, worth reaching our hand out and grabbing, and what's going to be worth building, and who's going to be worth building it with, and who's, bringing the quality to our life and our emotions. We can sit and say we can want to be an indecisive energy all we want, but I feel like this weekend saying we have more knowing than we think. It's almost like we are just playing tricks on ourselves, thinking that we don't know. It's like, well, have you tried the thing that you really want and that you feels right? Like, maybe just speak up a little bit for it too at the same time, The Hierophant reversed. Yeah, I feel like this card has been coming up often for me lately. There's just a new way of tradition. There's a new way of how things are going. Relationships are going in different places. The old systems are going in different places. Everything's starting to go in a different way. So it's almost like we're indecisive because, yeah, we might not know exactly where things are going, but we still have, like, I think an inner knowing that does. And I think we're kind of being asked to follow that. But that is, again, like what the system has always said, don't listen to that, right? So we're having to, like, break some of that and really trust, I think, our own belief internally and not get so lost in whatever's showing up that we are Neptunian, fogged out, confused when there's a lot of Earth in the chart too. That's like, hey, you got this. Your life has shown you. Do something. It's still like Mercury retrograde. It's not like the most radical big thing you have to do, but like the little things that have like kind of come over this time. It's like, oh yeah, this, that. And the Ace of Cups. I love this card. It's a beautiful card. I think there's a lot that is growing. There's a lot that is, happening. And I think we can get lost in so many different avenues. Information is just overload out there in the world. There's so much happening and so much content that's out these days. Like, I understand where we can get a little lost or a little confused, but I think when we get back to our own cup of emotion, our own feelings, our own intuition, we really can put that towards the right effort that is overflowing, that can definitely be a new start, that can show you that, we might be a little confused about what the one thing we want to grab is, but at the same time, maybe it's not just one thing. Maybe it's actually taking the initiative to grab one thing that gets you to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And then you never know. You might end up with all 7 cups because you initiated what would feel good and what you were passionate about that was going to grow in the first place. I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you all for Monday's horoscope. Much love. Peace.